So I've discovered a way, I believe recently, to determine if someone is intelligent enough that you can rely that they are capable of finding the truth or to have their opinion respected on anything complex, right? Politics, religion, philosophy, whatever. And that is if they know what the term per capita means. If you don't know what per capita means, you're stupid. If English is not your first language, fair enough. Uh, Otherwise, if you don't know what per capita means, you're dumb. Your opinion cannot possibly be correct because the term per capita is used everywhere. In any sort of place where the information is valid or is of any complexity, like is scientific literature, any sort of research, any sort of text that is past the sixth grade level. If it is a technical sort of information, psychology, biology, anything, it uses the term per capita. You will know what the term per capita means. I'm not saying, oh, well, I just don't know what that term means, but I'm sure if you explain the concept, I will understand it. So I'm not really dumb because I would understand the concept. I just don't know that word. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. I could teach a hamster the concept of per capita. All right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about if you know the word or not. And I'll be using the concept of per capita in my illustration here. If you and I agree or disagree on ideas or opinions, probably 90% of our opinions are the same. Therefore, your opinion is correct because it's also my opinion, right? If you and I disagree, you are wrong every time. You are never not wrong. You are never correct, right? You are wrong. I am right because you don't know what per capita means, which means there's no way you've done any amount of serious research into anything, ever, at all. You play video games or watch YouTube or just stare at the sun all day. I don't know what you do, but it's nothing that requires any amount of thinking. So, if you have an opinion, it's probably the wrong one, unless it also happens to be mine, right? Or anyone else who knows what per capita means is far more likely to be correct than you are. A hobo who knows what per capita means is far more intelligent than you. They're probably really smart if they know what per capita means. And they also know that people are homeless for many reasons. But you shouldn't assume that they're less or more intelligent than you. Okay? That is what a person who would know per capita would know. Right? Back to the point. Per capita is very important to understand anything, any sort of news headline you saw, any sort of statistic that you saw little numbers on a graph on the news or something, you have been manipulated. Whatever news person, whatever clickbaiter, whatever YouTuber or, God forbid, TikToker that showed you a graph manipulated you 100% of the time. Either they did it on purpose, or because you don't know what per capita is, you misinterpreted what that graph was showing you. Every graph you saw, you might as well have not even seen it. It would be better because now you have an opinion which is probably false. It does not correlate to what the graph was actually showing. That is why you are stupid. Because if you haven't gotten that term already, then you're just sitting there Lights are on, nobody's home. Hello, hello. Um, help yourself. At the very least, if you don't want to research, you've never read a book in your life, which, if you, on a per capita basis, anyone who doesn't know what per capita is probably has not finished a single book that was not forced upon them by a person of very high authority, like a teacher and a parent, probably had to work concurrently to force you to read any book ever. So, most people know what per capita is. It's pretty common. Do yourself a favor, if you don't know what per capita is, and just agree with everyone else. Because they're more likely to be correct. I don't mean to be mean. I love you. You're special, right? Learn what per capita is. Maybe then you might start to notice stuff, and over time, goodness gracious, you actually have an opinion that might actually be valid. Of course, an opinion or idea you might have that's your personal thing. I like chocolate. Ice cream, that is an opinion that is subjective, right? But if political party purple and political party yellow are debating, and you say I like purple and I say I like purple, you're probably right. If you say you like purple and I say I like yellow, I'm right. Purple is not right. So, look at your colleagues, the people who believe what you believe. Are they the kinds of people who understand what per capita is? If they're not, you need new friends and a new ideology, because whatever you're doing right now, it's too much. Okay? Someone who cares about politics, like actually cares, and is not someone who can actually do anything, right? Not someone who can do something. A multi-millionaire who cares about politics, well, that actually makes sense. But a person living in a trailer caring about politics, they can't do anything. Even if they're right. Even if they're right. And they probably are. They probably are being taken advantage of. They probably have been given the short stick, right? They probably are, on a per capita basis, less fortunate. And so they probably are more correct. But that is only if they understand per capita. Because if they don't, then they're probably wrong. They're probably blaming the wrong person. They're probably blaming the wrong problem. The person who is actually keeping them down is telling them, no, it's this other guy, and they believe them. Because they use statistics that use the word per capita in a way that is just confusing enough that people who don't know what per capita is, they think the opposite. So the real bad guy, right, the people who are actually doing the bad thing to these poor unfortunate souls, whomever they may be, the people who are doing the bad are pointing the finger at someone else, and the people being done the evil are falling for it. They're that stupid. They're that stupid that they actually believe that, no, it's actually him who is oppressing me, even though it is clearly and obviously the other person. If they look at any statistic, graph, research, read past the headline into the actual article, that's how you really know. If you don't know what per capita is, you only read headlines. You have never read a full article. The only thing you've ever read in the news is the comic strip. All right? If you don't know what per capita means. Because if you have read other things in there, you have been misinformed by your own unknowledge of the word per capita. Right? It's used in lots of statistics that a lot of people don't want anyone to understand. All right? There are people who don't want you to know what per capita is. Because if you look at statistics and you look at per capita and you know what it means, you're going to form opinions that they disagree with or they wish you didn't have, actually. They might actually agree with you because they know it's actually correct, but they don't want you to be correct, right? So there's that. It just seems to be the perfect way. The real, you can know what per capita means and be wrong. Often, you probably are. I am wrong frequently. But a person who doesn't know what per capita is wrong every time. Always. 0% chance of success. They were dead at delivery, right? They never stood a chance, right? Because if you don't know what per capita means, you cannot form any correct opinion. Because anyone who wants you to have an opinion contrary to reality has already compromised you and your ideas. You could be the nicest sweetheart in the world. You could make everyone cookies and always come to class with a smile. I might love you. But if you don't know what per capita means, you're dumb. Don't worry. Everyone I love knows what per capita is. Except for my cats. But I have a strong suspicion that they could understand the concept. Using cat treats, maybe. People who know what per capita is oftentimes disagree. But they do so in intelligent ways, using statistics, information, facts, objective reality, and not what I wish to be true, what I hope to be true, because I wish the sky was made of cotton candy and everybody lived forever, right? But what I wish is not relevant, because what I do is what I do to make what I wish reality. Not those things, but things that I can actually achieve. Like providing for my family, or being able to be healthy and have a future, right? So, if I know what per capita is, I can actually make intelligent decisions to do that, to that effect, right? I can actually be smart. I can actually read something and understand it, and not misunderstand it or get confused and then decide I don't want to read anymore, which is oftentimes what happens. People start reading, it gets a little too hard. Per capita, what's that even mean? And they just stop reading forever. They never read past the headline. They never read past the first 10 comments on their favorite TikTok. They never read past anything. At all. Ever. They can read signs. They can read that says McDonald's. That says fat-free. This says bagels. Like they can understand objects, object permanence, nouns, verbs. They can understand concepts, but not very clearly, because they do not practice their own language frequently enough. Because there's no way you are using the full dictum of the English language only verbally. You must read it. If you do not read it, you do not know it. If you do not know it, you do not use it, you do not think it. You are thinking in simple terms. Me want bagel. Me go store. Me vote Democrat. You're not even there. You're a caveman. You're whatever. You're just that says video game. That says Star Wars. That says good job. You can read signs, small paragraphs, pamphlets. Maybe you read the title screen in a video game. You can read basic food instructions boil water, and they have a picture of the water and it's boiling, right? And there's a fire underneath, just in case you get a little dense. There's a fire underneath. Oh, it's hot water. And you know, you can follow basic instructions. You might be able to get a job. Certainly manual labor. I couldn't see much past. The only way I can see past minimum wage is if you have like a really, like welding or something. Like you can make some good money being a welder, and welders will agree. You don't have to be a genius to be a welder, although a lot of geniuses are welders. But you don't have to be one. You can be not quite. You don't know what per capita is, but you can weld. Above that, I don't think you can. You certainly can't work anything that is beyond basic administrative office work, clerical work at best. Well, not like real clerical work, but like, hello, Dunder Mifflin. You can do that. You can be. I mean, you could be a salesman if you work hard, because you'd only have to know certain amounts of information of this document. I know what this document is. Right? You can read stuff like that. You can read. You're literate. But you're not intelligent. You're not smart. You're not looking for the truth, really. You believe just, whatever everyone else is. Oh, this guy said this. Orange Man bad? Oh, well, shit. He did that, and he did that. I believe everything you told me, because I don't know what fucking per capita means. I don't know what it means. So I'll believe whatever you tell me. Show me this graph. If during the economy, Trump's economy, it went up. But if I hold it upside down and you don't know what per capita means, it looks like it went down. That's literally, I'm not even joking, literally what has happened. You can hate Orange Man all you want. Plenty to hate. Right? But you do so with reason and understanding, and for the correct reasons. Because he did this, because he did that. He did do that. Maybe he did do that. Maybe this, that, the other. But I think these other things weigh out this. That could be a discussion. But if you think I saw a graph, he did this, he bad man, right? Then you are right for the wrong reasons. You're accidentally right. Right? Whoops. Flip a coin. A broken clock is right twice a day. Hands are stuck at 12. Twice a day, it's 12 o'clock, so the clock's right? Even if you're all right, but you're not. But even if you are, it's accidentally for the wrong reasons. It's like a puppy walked into the wrong door in a house. He just doesn't know. He just accidentally got in there, but it happens to be the right door, right? So, teachers have been failing children. I graduated from public school. Not rich part of town public school, public school, right? No. Real public school. In the South, right? In a city, right? I went to public school, right? It was not the greatest school in the world. Not even close. It was okay. It wasn't the worst school in the world. I'm not trying to knock it, but everyone who didn't know what per capita meant has either been in prison or is dead or is on the street. That's it. Everyone, without fail, who did not know what per capita meant in high school. And I know who knew and who didn't know. Right? And I know what they believe now and what they believed then, and their stupid, dumb, incorrect opinions about everything, right? They are on the street. Dead. A surprisingly large number of them are actually dead. and I'm not even that old. And or has been in prison, right? They might be reformed now. They might be a janitor somewhere or something. But they've been to prison. Or they're strung out on meth or something, right? But that usually implies on the streets. Well, not always, on a per capita basis. Someone would understand the nuance there if they understand per capita, right? Between not everyone who does heroin is on the street. Some of them have jobs and stuff. Usually it's hard to keep that up for long unless you have just tons of money. And even then they usually find a way. But you understand the nuance of per capita things like that. If you don't know what per capita is, you don't understand nuance, right? You might kind of instinctually, you feel nuance. You understand the word nuance. And if you don't know what per capita means or what nuance means, you're not watching this. I know you're not watching this because you've tuned out a long time ago. Unless someone had a gun to your head and you don't know what nuance means, unless someone is literally saying, I will kill you if you don't watch this video, then you're not watching this video. Because if you don't know what nuance and per capita are, or at least nuance, then, you know, that's too low of a bar. Per capita, I think, is the perfect bar. It's the perfect bar. It is right where you want it. It's not too hard. Normal people know what per capita is. Normal people who are kind of, they make mistakes. Maybe they're not that smart. Maybe they invested in Blockbuster. Or maybe they, bought puts on GameStop. Or maybe they, kind of messed up a little bit here and there, or their business went bankrupt, or they lost their job because they lost their temper, or now they're having a divorce or something like that. People like that even know what per capita is. People like that. Not all of them. People who, they make mistakes and whatnot. But it's not an impossible bar. I'm not saying, unless you're a super genius like me. No. You can be relatively unremarkable and know what per capita is. You gotta be brain dead to not. Unless English is not your first language. Then hopefully you know it in your language. Right? Per capita, of course, is of Latin origin, which makes it sound a little, just that little touch from the Norman days, that little touch of Latin and French in anything. English words that are of non-Germanic but of Romance origin, like per capita, per se, nuance, right? These are French words, French and Latin words. They still, hundreds of years later, after being introduced into the English language, hold that little amount of sway as being just a little bit fancier. Right? The Germanic words are seen as simple and normal, and that's because we kept the Germanic words for all the normal, simple stuff. To bake cake, pour flour. Pour. Now, does pour, maybe it is of French origin, but it could very easy. If someone says that's of Germanic origin, I believe them, right? It's a simple word, right? Open this, right? Open. Oh, that's of Germanic origin. Unter, right? Basic German, right? Those words, even dum-dums understand. Per capita is just fancy. It's not French, which is just under that fancy level. It's Latin, which is just that hair bit fancier. That if a person who is stupid starts to read something and they see that word, they glaze over. They're like a deer in headlights. They either run away and just continue on the paragraph and make it up and just, this makes sense because, Trump, right? They're not able to form complete thoughts because they don't know what that word is, and so you make a sentence with a word that you don't understand that is a very core central word or phrase, then you misunderstand the whole thing, right? And so it's of Latin origin, and only people who read know what it means. And so they get scared and they don't like that word, and anything that has that word, they don't understand it. And when they see a graph of weather or crime or money, anything, the economy, they don't know what the economy is at all, period. If you don't know what per capita is, you don't know anything at all about the economy. I got dollars, right? That's as far as you've thought in money wise, if you don't know what per capita is. These people cook our food. They are next to us in traffic. I know you can spot someone who doesn't know what per capita is in traffic. You're looking, you say, that person, they don't know what per capita is. There's no way that they know what per capita is. Nope. Right? You're in real dead gridlock traffic. You know who knows what per capita is and who doesn't. Right? It's instinctual. That's just a guideline. Alright? It's not even a perfect guideline. I'm sure there's probably some people who don't know what per capita is and whose language is English who might actually be somewhat intelligent. Maybe, I suppose. I mean, it can happen, certainly. But on a per capita basis, it's not likely. And that is what I'm talking about. Anyone who knows what per capita is, you cannot be intelligent and not know what a generalization is. Not just know what one is, but know one when you see one. Be able to look at something and say, oh, that's a generalization. You might know what you might know what a cockroach is. But if you look at a cockroach and you don't know what it is, you don't know what a cockroach is. Right? If you don't know per capita when you see it, then you are stupid. You're probably racist. You're probably stupid. You're probably racist. Like in the real racist way. Like you're actually that fucking stupid that you're actually you're actually fucking racist. It doesn't matter what color you are. Whatever color you are. White, black, brown, purple with pink polka dots. It doesn't matter. If you don't know what per capita is, you are probably a racist. That is almost certainly true. People who know and understand per capita, know when they see it, are not racist. Even if they're a little racist. And people who understand that understand what I'm talking about. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you don't know per capita when you see it, and I'm sorry you've gotten this far in the video, and I don't know how. I don't know how you've gotten this far without knowing what per capita means. If you don't understand the difference between racism and racism, right? Actual, like Darwinistic racism, you've got to be just fucking stupid to actually believe on a non-per capita basis. On a per capita basis, if evolution is true, then there's going to be variation all over the world. Obviously. Right? That's how it works. You don't know what evolution is. You might think you do. I saw a picture of a monkey and I saw a picture of a possum. That's your theory of evolution. You don't know what it actually means. And if you don't know what it actually means, you're dumb. You're dumb. Even if you disagree, even if you're a Christian, devout Christian, and you think the Earth was created 6,000 years ago, Adam and Eve, all true, you can still know what per capita means. And understand what evolution is. Right? and even accept evolution on a per capita basis, right? On a, you know that evolution is true, but not, you don't believe that it actually is to the extent to which it is proclaimed to be, right? But the concept of things evolving, obviously that's true. You have to be stupid not to know that, right? There's a difference there. And if you don't understand that, you don't know what per capita is. If you don't know what difference I'm making, but you do. And that is the point I'm making. If you can understand those sorts of differences, that is what is the marker of whether you are correct or wrong. If you can't make those sort of distinctions, you are wrong. And if you're thinking of an opinion and you haven't in the back of your mind corrected for that per capita, right? That sort of nuance of something can be something and also not really be something. Something can be true but also kind of be false. Something can, you could be like a real deal atheist and still say, oh well, Jesus was right in many ways. Because 90% of the stuff he says is a metaphorical allegory for stuff that is just common sense. Not really common sense, but is banger material, right? You should forgive people. Person who doesn't know what per capita is, they don't forgive people. Because they're stupid. They're too stupid to forgive people. They don't see the value in it. They're like, there's no value in that. That's how stupid they are. They actually see no value in forgiving people. Can you imagine being that stupid? You don't forgive people? Do you have rocks in your head? Have you read any book? It doesn't have to be a good book. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be the Encyclopedia Britannica. It can be Hop on Pop. Cat in the Hat. You haven't read it. Not since middle school have you read anything that no one has forced you to. And you probably barely accomplished that. Certainly not as an adult. If you're a kid, yeah, that's what kids learn. You're not an adult unless you understand the nuance of life. You're just a grown, old child. You're still in a childlike mindset. You're still that dumb that you believe some racist thing because you don't understand what per capita really means. What it really means. Not what the actual word means. That's just a measure, a rough measurement, a rough guideline, a rough limit saying this is about right. You don't know what per capita is. If you do, if you know what it is, you probably really know what it is. Right? Probably. It's a rough guideline. If you don't know what it is, you definitely don't know what it is. But that's on a per capita basis. Because there are illiterate yogis in the mountains that get it. They get it. They get per capita, even if they've never heard the word. People who speak Chinese or Arabic or Swahili, it doesn't matter. They can understand what per capita is. Like, actually get it. Not like a hamster understands it, but like, they actually get it. They're actually cool. If you don't know what per capita is, you're not cool. You're not cool. You're not cool. If you think you're cool, you are probably the cringiest goofball. If you don't get it, then I'm assuming everybody knows what per capita is. I just want you to understand that there's some sort of unspoken or unspeakable something. Nuance of life. Some people understand it, some people don't. You cannot reason. You can manipulate, but you cannot reason with a person who doesn't get it. They get it. Life's messy. On a per capita basis. Yeah. Bad things have happened in history. You've never read a history book if you don't know that. People who actually understand history and not that hogwash that you're force-fed at. God knows what Ivy League school, right? Or your public school with your pink-haired teacher, right? I mean, like, actual, like, history. People, like, actually care about anything beyond what that. Someone put a gun in their head and said, you have to learn this history. Right? If they even understand it at all. And then not some, right, dumb. They understand. There's been evil all over the world forever. There always will be evil. There always has been evil. Evil is here. It is evil to stay, right? And they get it. Times are tough sometimes. Life's messy. Victims today were oppressors in the past, and oppressors today will be victims in the future, and were victims before. Because we're all one, basically. Remember I said the French were a little fancy? A little bit fancy pants, right? For us mere Germanic language speakers, right? They're a little bit je ne sais quoi, right? They're a little bit something. They do have one saying. I don't know how to say it in French, and I won't dishonor and butcher their language attempting it, but to understand everything is to forgive everything. Like, to understand all is to forgive all. If you understand the world, if you have an opinion that is correct, then you get it. You're cool. Because you understand that, love wins in the end. Right? 5 in 10,000 is 5 too many. But it's still only 5 in 10,000. It's almost 10,000 where it's not. Right? You get it. Right? If your opinion is correct, you get it. You understand that life is messy. You understand that things happen on a per capita basis. You don't blame others for other people's things, right? If your opinion is correct, you're not an actual racist, right? You might understand what per capita means, but you're not an actual racist, right? I've said my piece. Right? Stay safe out there, folks. Stay hydrated. Love yourself, love your neighbor. Peace be upon you. And if you have been directed to this video, it means that I love you. And I want you to understand that I believe I'm correct in my opinion. I might not be. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. But if you told me that I was wrong, and you showed me that I was wrong, I would stand corrected. I would say, you know what? You're right. Right? If you get it, then you get it. If you don't, you gotta learn to let those people go. That's the hardest thing in life. Letting people who don't get it to sort themselves out.